He surrendered to anything Upananda said. And Upananda, it wasn't like he was ruling in the background. He, with total surrender to Nanda Maharaj, was just giving the best advice he knew to serve. This was the spirit. This is Krishna consciousness. To the extent devotees develop relationships like this, there will be real Sankirtan. There will be infinite potency of Krishna's presence when we come together to chant the holy name. Upananda advised that they do all sorts of yagyas to please Narayan, to have a child. But Nanda and Yashoda, they were Nanda told Yashoda Mai that I'm having these visions, something like a dream, but it's something so real, where I'm seeing this beautiful little child whose complexion is like the tamal trees here in Gokul, like a monsoon rain cloud. And he has such lovely lotus-like eyes, and such a beautiful flower-like nose, and lips like fresh bimba fruits. And this little baby, his hair blackish like clusters of crow's feathers circling his moon-like face. This little baby, I see him sitting on your lap, Yashoda Mai, and you're embracing him, and he's drinking milk from you. And I've totally fallen in love with this little boy. I'm thinking of him constantly. And I'm thinking, that's the child I want. And Yashoda Mai told Nanda that I'm having the exact same vision. I'm seeing the same child on my lap, and I'm playing with him. And when he smiles, it just illuminates the entire creation. And I've become so deeply, deeply attached with motherly love for this child. There's no other child I could want. But they kept it a secret. Nanda Maharaj asked, what should we do? Because all these karma kanda yagyas that Upananda wants to do, my elder brother, we cannot have a child like this through that process. This is something very deep and very special. Only by the mercy of Lord Narayan. Yashoda Mai said we should do the Dwadasi Vrata for 1 year to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. So they did that. And meanwhile, they kept having this vision, and their minds were fixed in the beautiful child of this vision. And as they performed this vrata, Purnamasi, she came to Gokul. She was an elderly Brahmin lady, a disciple of Narada Muni, mother of Sandipani Muni. She came with a child, a Brahmin boy, and the Brijbasis welcomed her, and she said, I have good news for you. Nanda and Yashoda are soon to have a child like no other. This child is going to enchant everyone's hearts. He's going to be the source of all protection and all joy for the whole of Gokul. When they heard this coming from her, they were so happy. It just relieved them. And they said, please stay here with us. And they built a little cottage for her on the bank of Yamuna. And she introduced the boy. Said he was of the age where he was just coming out of the primary school. She said his name is Madhu Mangal. And his age never changes, nor does mine. We always remain exactly this age. Soon after, when the end of the year came, of the Dwadasi Vrata, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, appeared simultaneously to both Nanda, Yashoda. They surrendered their hearts to him. Narayan told Nanda, Yashoda, that why are you in lamentation? With a pure and good heart of devotional service, you have surrendered to me. So why should there be any anxiety in your hearts? What you desire will be fulfilled. That child of your dreams, that child who has stolen your hearts, Hari, that child who you love more dear than everything and anything that has appeared within your hearts, that child will become your son. And after that, Yashoda Mai became pregnant with a baby. By the Lord's order, Yogamaya appeared within Yashoda's womb. And the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, who descended from Goloka Vrindavan, the ultimate planet of the spiritual world, appeared within Yashoda Mai's heart. First Krishna appeared in Nanda Maharaja's mind and heart, and then was transferred to Yashoda's. Everyone in Vrindavan celebrated when the news came that Nanda and Yashoda are having a child. Their happiness was in the happiness of those they love. And when the time for Krishna's appearance would come, Balaramji had already appeared. The day that Purnamasi came to Vrindavan, Vasudeva sent Rohini to also come. At that exact time, while Yashoda Mai was sleeping, Krishna appeared outside of her womb. He became the son. Actually, she wasn't sleeping when he took birth. She gave birth to him, but then she fell asleep by mystical powers of the Lord. And because she fell asleep, she didn't recognize by power of Yogamaya whether it's a boy or a girl. At that time, Yogamaya, well, actually, in Mathura, Devaki, in just the verse before this one that we're reading today, she's asking Narayan, in her motherly affection, to please hide this supreme, majestic form of yours. Krishna had already told Vasudeva and Devaki that I want you to take me across the Yamuna to Gokul and exchange me for the child of Nanda and Yashoda. Bring her back. So in great detail in Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami explains how just at the moment when Narayan took the form of a little baby boy, just at that moment, Yogamaya, by the power of Krishna's will, like a wind, invisibly, she took that little baby from Nanda and Yashoda's home in Gokul and transferred him to Mathura. And that little baby was Nanda and Yashoda's baby Krishna. And the four-armed form of Narayan, who's an expansion, merged into Krishna's body, because all the avatars, all the expansions are all included within Krishna. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, later chapters, we find how Yashoda Mai fed Krishna some milk before his journey to Gokul. And then the shackles on their legs opened. All the gates and the doors and the locks opened. And everyone in Mathura fell asleep, including the guards. And Vasudeva took the little baby. He came to the Yamuna. It was very high, because it's during the monsoon seasons. It was very swift current. And during the rains, Ananta Shesha appeared like an umbrella to protect little baby Krishna. And Yamuna Mai made a pathway so that Nanda could cross her. He came across from Mathura to Mahavan, and there everyone in Gokul was sleeping also. No one saw him. He came to the home of Yashoda Mai and saw that Yogamaya, a little baby girl, appeared. And she was laying next to Yashoda, Krishna's younger sister, because Krishna came out first. After she invisibly transferred Krishna to Mathura, then she appeared as the little baby girl. Vasudeva placed Krishna back where he had come from, the side of Yashoda, and brought Yogamaya back to Mathura. And as soon as he arrived in the prison, the shackles went on his legs, all the doors locked, and everyone woke up. And the first thing they heard was the screaming cry of a little baby. Immediately the guards informed Kamsa. And Kamsa didn't waste any time. He wanted to exterminate this baby immediately. He ran down, lifted the child. Actually, when he was trying to grab the child from Devaki, she was embracing that little baby girl with all of her motherly love and pleading, crying to Kamsa, just give me this one child. You've murdered 6 of my children. This is a girl. You have nothing to worry from a girl. Let me be a mother, at least to someone. I beg you, have mercy on your sister. But Kamsa, obsessed with his ego to live, to have power and rule over everyone and anyone, he forcibly pulled the little baby out of Devaki's helpless arms and went to dash her against a rock till she was a bloody mess. How horrible. It is said that Kamsa, by his mystical powers and his yoga perfections, his arms were as strong as 10,000 elephants. Now this is the Dwapar Yuga, where elephants were really big and very powerful. Today they're very big and powerful, but only a fraction of what they were then. One elephant, we have seen at Guruvayur, these male elephants with the tusks. I was just chanting japa one morning, just with the elephants, where they keep them about 1 kilometer from the temple. And this one elephant, I don't know why, but he wrapped his trunk around a tree and pulled the tree with its roots right out of the ground and threw it. There's no human being alive today that could do that. Bhima, he could do those things, but he was in Dwapar Yuga too. This is one male elephant. Now, consider elephant probably 1,000 times more powerful than that is what the elephants of the previous age were. And 10,000 of those elephants was the strength of Kamsa's arms. And with all that strength, a little helpless newborn, she was only born a few hours before. You have seen what babies look like when they're just born. And a little girl, so delicate, so frail, so tiny. He was going to, with all of his anger and strength and fear, going to just obliterate her against a rock. But the little baby girl slipped out of his hands, went into the sky, and became Durga with 8 arms, riding on a lion. And she spoke. Kamsa, you are a fool. Who can say that to Kamsa? She said, the child that is meant to kill you has already appeared somewhere else. It's beautiful. And she disappeared. And Kamsa fell at the feet of Devaki and Vasudeva and begged forgiveness. But he did it in his own way. He said, actually, I beg forgiveness, but please know it's your own karma. Otherwise, it's all destiny, and you were meant to suffer this, and I was the instrument, but still I beg forgiveness. And Vasudeva and Devaki, with not just in pretension, from their heart of hearts, they forgave him. It's all right. This is their greatness. To be like Vasudeva and Devaki, it's required to have that disposition for Krishna to actually appear within our hearts. In one place, Srila Prabhupada explains Krishna's name is Vasudeva. In pure devotional service is called attaining the Vasudeva platform. He's Vasudeva because he's the son of Vasudeva. And he's also the all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna's especially endeared to when we recognize his relation with his devotees. So yes, Vasudeva means the Supreme Lord, but more intimately, it's describing his relationship with his father, Vasudeva. And in order for Krishna to appear within our hearts, the Vasudeva platform, Krishna showed us through Vasudeva what is true pure devotion. And Devaki Nandana. Meanwhile, in Mahavan, somehow Yashodamai she woke up and there was little Gopal laying beside her. And it was her first gaze into his beautiful face. Yes, this was the child she dreamed of. This was the child she longed for. This was her child. The inconceivable infinite love, the ultimate Vatsalya Prem between Yashoda and Krishna was revealed in this world. And she embraced that little baby with such, her heart was rejoicing with tears of love and affection, as was Krishna to be held by his mother. And soon Rohini and other gopis found out, and they came running and they saw the beautiful form of Gopal. They sent a Brahmin lady to give the message to Nanda Maharaj. By this time it was the early morning and they were just beginning to milk the cows. And Upananda, Abhinanda, Nandan, Sunanda, Nandan, they were all together with so many other gopas. And it's a very auspicious time when you're just beginning to milk the cows. And this lady came in and she just looked so happy. In the heart of hearts of everybody who saw her, they knew the only thing that could make anybody this happy is Yashodamai must have given birth. And when she proclaimed that with choked voice in ecstasy, Nanda Maharaj, intoxicated with spiritual ecstasy, went to see his little son. And when Rohini Devi placed little baby Gopal in Nanda Maharaj's arms, Yashodamai looked over and saw, and just seeing the happiness of her husband was the greatest joy of her life. This is Vrindavan. Nandotsava. Nanda Maharaj immediately arranged a celebration. The celebration was for many reasons. One, to express their joy. It's Vaishnava culture that we share our joy with others. That Nanda Maharaj and Yashodamai, they were so unlimitedly happy, and they wanted to share that unlimited happiness with everyone and anyone in Vrindavan. With the Brahmins, with the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas and the Shudras and everybody else, with the cows and with the goats and with the sheep and the buffaloes, everybody should experience the happiness that we have. So they had this beautiful festival. And another reason for the celebration is because they loved their baby so like a bottomless ocean without shores. They wanted to bless this child. They had no conception that this child was the source of all blessings. They wanted him blessed. And they wanted everyone to bless this child. Because when you give people happiness, naturally blessings come from their hearts. Let all the cows, let all the buffaloes, let all the goats, let all the gopas and all the gopis and all the Brahmins, everyone bless this child with their love, their affection. That's the nature of affection. Nandotsava, the celebration of Krishna's birth as it was celebrated by Nanda Maharaj. Krishna had come to the world to perform his most beautiful pastimes, to divert our attention away from illusion to the highest truth, to attract and enchant our hearts. The narration of Krishna's pastimes is compared to a limitless river of the pure Ganges, which flowed from the mouth of Shukadev Goswami. And that river of Harikatha can cleanse even the most wicked, cruel, and dark minds and hearts, and awaken the love of the residents of Vrindavan. Our beloved Srila Prabhupada, he too, descending from Goloka, appeared within this world on the day of Nandotsava. Because Krishna's purpose of coming to this world was to be very much fulfilled by Srila Prabhupada's advent. To take this river of the nectarine pastimes, names, and remembrance of Krishna to the whole world. And the day of Krishna, the celebration, the ultimate celebration of Krishna's birth, Srila Prabhupada appeared on that celebration to share this celebration with all of us. And as Srila Prabhupada explains in this beautiful purport, how Krishna appeared simultaneously as the son of Devaki and as the son of Yashoda, along with the spiritual energy Yogamaya. And then he explains how Vasudeva and Devaki are supremely worshipable, that the Lord appeared as their son, but how even more worshipable are Nanda and Yashoda. Shukadev Goswami explains in later chapters of the 10th canto how Vasudeva and Devaki, they endured so much difficulty for so many years. And they had a glimpse of Vishnu, and then a glimpse of little boy Gopal, who they understood was God himself. And then within a few minutes he was gone. And they remained in prison for most of the time. Approximately 11 to 12 years before they ever saw Krishna again. And meanwhile, during that time, Nanda and Yashoda, they were 24 hours a day with little Gopal. Yashoda Mai and Vasudeva also, he never got to see Balaram, his other son. When his wife Rohini was still pregnant, he sent her for protection to Gokul. So he never saw Krishna or Balaram. From his prison cell, he would hear things from time to time. There wasn't any internet or any, what do you call, SMSs or anything like that. There wasn't even any letters where he could hear about them. Just whatever he could. Love and separation was so deep. Can you imagine the separation of Vasudeva and Devaki? The child that totally stole their hearts, that they loved unconditionally. Their only solace is that he was with Nanda and Yashoda. And they didn't even know that he was Vasudeva's child. But Vasudeva's only concern was that Krishna was happy and safe. He didn't want to enjoy Krishna himself. He wanted Krishna to enjoy. Meanwhile, Devaki, Nanda, Yashoda, Mai, they had the ultimate ecstasy of loving Krishna as their own little child. Counting his little teeth as they were growing in his beautiful little lotus mouth. Teaching him to crawl, teaching him to walk, feeding him milk. Later watching him steal butter and play with his friends. And Vasudeva and Devaki, they never saw Krishna till he grew up. And he came to the wrestling arena, Ranga Mahal in Mathura. And at that time, Nanda, Yashoda, and the Brijabasis, they were in intense separation. So Vasudeva, Devaki, they were in separation during the childhood pastimes of Krishna, from his Bal Lila, Kumar Lila, Poganda Lila, Kishore Lila. And when he became a youth, his Yovana Lila, when he became youth, then he came to Mathura. But then for about another 110 years, Vasudeva and Devaki had Krishna's association. And Nanda Yashoda were in separation. And that love and separation is considered the highest, sweetest, most intimate ecstasy of love within their hearts, both in separation and in meeting. So Srila Prabhupada is revealing in this beautiful purport to this verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come to give the world. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he reveals to us the mind of Krishna. How everywhere people are worshiping God as the supreme proprietor of everything that exists, as the all-powerful. But such love, crippled by recognition of my Aishwarya, my majesty, does not please me as much as the simple, sweet love of the residents of Vrindavan. Therefore, I will appear within this world with my father and mother, Yananda and Yashoda, and with Sri Radha and her expansions of Lalita, Vishaka, and with Sridama and Subala. And I will reveal to the world and invite the world, people, into this Leela of Madhurya Bhava. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was Radha Bhavaduti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam, Krishna with the complexion, and the Mahabhava, the love of Sri Radha. He comes in the Kali Yuga after Krishna appears. In the time of Vaivashvat Manu, to give what no other incarnation has given. Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Godatveshi Namah. So magnanimous, so merciful. He's freely giving this highest revelation of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. He's beckoning the hearts and the souls of humanity through the doors of his supreme mercy to enter into the pastimes of Vrindavan. And he manifested those pastimes in Navadvip. He manifested those pastimes in Puri. He manifested those pastimes when he traveled through South India, when he went through the Jarikhanda forest, and ultimately when he had his supreme reunion with all of his associates in Vrindavan. And knowing the fallen condition of the people of the age of Kali, Patita Pavana Hetu, Tava Avatar. The essence of all incarnations. To the most fallen, the most downtrodden, he's giving this invitation. He's giving the ticket back home, back to Godhead, to Goloka. Tava Advatara Tara Siromani Kevala Ananda Kanda. And the process is joyful. Hearing about Krishna, his pastimes, his beautiful form, singing wonderful songs about Krishna, serving Krishna, seeing the deity of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna in the mood of Radha, who appears as a devotee to teach by his own example. The loving association of devotees to practice Krishna consciousness is simply joyful. It's joyful if we have the right attitude. If we don't have the right attitude, then even though we're in the association of devotees, we're not really in the association of devotees. To access the grace of Krishna in the association, our intentions, our attitudes are very important. And then, whatever may come, we will never be tested to the extent of Vasudeva and Devaki. But whatever tests do come, we understand the principle of never giving up hope and seeking shelter in good times and bad times. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given that shelter. And Srila Prabhupada has taken that shelter and given all of us access to it in its simple, most comprehensive and complete way. And the culmination of that shelter is that Krishna is forever within his holy names. And with the proper service attitude together, we can connect to Krishna as we perform Nam Sankirtan.